Well, no, it does not officially exist. It's not registered as a company. It files no tax returns. It is the Wagner Group.
Wagner Group.
Wagner.
The Wagner Group.
The Wagner Group. Although you might not have heard of them, they are one of the biggest private military contractors in the world. And they are everywhere. They are security for the President of the Central African Republic, they fight in Ukraine and train the Sudanese army. But what is this mysterious force? To understand Wagner Group, we must first understand the man behind it all. Firstly, we have Yevgeny Prigozhin. He was born in Leningrad on the 1st of June 1961. He's known as a wealthy businessman, but this wasn't always the case. At the age of 20, he was sentenced to 12 years in prison for robbery, fraud, and organizing prostitution. After his imprisonment, he decided to turn his life around and started selling hot dogs. After a while, he became rich enough to buy a part of the first chain supermarket in Russia after the fall of the USSR. But it didn't stop here. He used the money he made to start multiple luxury restaurants in St. Petersburg, with the most famous being the New Island. That was a restaurant built into a riverboat. And this is where Prigozhin first met Putin. He took every chance to personally cater to every of Putin's needs, and this was highly effective and led to Prigozhin becoming a confidant of Putin. His close position to the Russian head of state gave him the ability to score many government catering contracts, from feeding school children to the Russian military. And here he also got his nickname, Putin's Chef. Although Prigozhin is the owner, the original founder and commander of the Wagner Group is Dmitry Utkin, a far-right veteran of the Chechen Wars. It is believed he named the Wagner Group after Hitler's favorite composer. We don't know exactly when the Wagner Group is founded, but it's presumed to be around 2014. In 2014, the Wagner Group got its first taste of action. Putin called upon Wagner's mercenaries to support the rebels in eastern Ukraine, specifically in the Luhansk region of Ukraine. Here the Wagner mercenaries got the name Little Green Men, because their origin was initially unknown and they wore unmarked green army uniforms. The PMCs, private military contractors, were highly efficient in helping the rebels, conducting sneak attacks, seizing ammunition storages, and taking over towns. The Wagner Group's involvement was first confirmed in 2014 after a Ukrainian plane transporting paratroopers was shot down at Luhansk International Airport. In early 2015, the group was again heavily involved with a major operation at the Battle of Debaltseve. Here they had state-of-the-art Russian equipment, like MRAPs. After most of the fighting stopped in eastern Ukraine, the PMCs were reportedly given the assignment to kill dissident pro-Russian commanders that were acting in rebellious manners. Their success in Ukraine led to them being used by Russia to support the Assad regime in Syria in 2015. Transporting the Wagner Group from Russia to Syria took over 51 round trips by air and a fleet of Russian military ships. Altogether, the usage of the mercenaries had reportedly cost Russia $117 million by August 2016. In 2017, the Kremlin established a policy in Syria where companies that seize oil and gas wells in the hands of rebels or ISIS would get 25% of the proceeds from these natural resources. This was done after the Wagner Group lost confidence in the Russian government being able to pay. In the 2017 Syrian army offensive, the Wagner Group took center stage. Their good training and usage of heavy equipment, like tanks, made them essential as shock troops. According to one of the contractors, most of the work was conducted by them, with the regular Syrian army only finishing the job. The group did run into many controversies in Syria. First, when a video of contractors torturing a Syrian man was leaked, and secondly, when they got into a fight with Kurdish SDF supported by the US military. This led to one of the first major defeats of the group, losing around 200 soldiers to the Kurdish forces and the US air support. You might be wondering to yourself why people want to fight for a company. The main reason is money. A soldier of the Wagner Group can make up to 300,000 rubles, or $3,000 per month, which goes a long way in that part of the world, and makes a job as a contractor very attractive. Another reason is because just like the French Foreign Legion, They don't look at your history. They will even hire criminals. So it hasn't been hard for the private army to reach a size of more than 6,000 soldiers. So why does Russia use the Wagner Group when they are perfectly able to deploy troops on their own? It's mostly because of plausible deniability. This means creating a long chain of command so the person who orders something, like an attack, will have the ability to deny knowing anything about it, or just shift the blame. Russia can't always send their troops to a region to maintain their interest without creating a geopolitical situation, but they can send a private company to support the local forces. This way, Russian interests can be secured, but Russia can't be blamed for the situation. For example, in the Libyan civil war, Field Marshal Khalifa Haftar had close ties to Russia. Wagner Group set up several military bases around Libya with missile firing capabilities, leading to Haftar being able to take over large swaths of the country. In the beginning, the mercenaries were only in Libya to provide artillery support, but after a while, Wagner Group also started providing snipers. This had a large influence on the war. The GNA, Haftar's counterpart, stated that one-third of their casualties came from Russian snipers. During their entire war, Russia kept supplying Haftar with heavy equipment through the Wagner Group, circumventing the arms embargo against Libya. To summarize, the Wagner Group is used by Russia to expand their influence all over the world, without being directly involved. They are well equipped and well trained, so certainly a force to be reckoned with. We can only wonder in which conflict they will pop up in the future.